Right, today we are going to replace the heater core on a 69 GTO. We know it's bad because here's the outlet and the inlet, and you can see this is nice and solid, but this is loose as can be. That means the nipple is broken right at the neck, so it's got to go. This is not an easy job. So the heater box, which is behind there, is bolted underneath the dash. And it continues on underneath this thing where the blower is. So to get the heater box under the dash off, we have to go and remove the glove box and then remove the bolts that you see here that hold the box on the other side. So in order to get at the heater box inside here, which is under the dash, we have to remove the glove box to make it easy. And the glove box is held in when you open it in the horizontal position by these cables, which are riveted. So all I did was I took a 1/8" drill bit, drilled out the rivet heads, and when I go to put it back together, I'll put it back together again with rivets exactly the way it was originally. Once those are gone, you can now pull, after you've removed all the screws surrounding it, you can remove the glove box fairly easy. There you go. Okay, now the next step is we have to take out the heater box. All right, now that we've got the glove box out, we can easily see what we have to do. This is the heater box right here, this whole assembly. It goes from here, from down here, all the way to the end down here. The bolts are on the other side, inside the engine bay. We're gonna go take them out right now. When you're gonna remove the heater box is gonna have 5 bolts that secure it. And they're actually secured with wire nuts from the outside. So this is the heater box, which is removed from underneath the dashboard, and it's got 5 attachment points. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. And there's your holes. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 is way underneath in there. And that's that. This one gives the most trouble to everybody. In fact, some people actually drop the inner fender down to get at it, but I've got another way. This is a Sears Craftsman self-ratcheting open-end wrench, and if you can get this in there and get it on, you can make little turns on it, and it takes about 100 turns to get it off, but it finally comes off. Now, I always recommend stuffing a towel down in there so that when you drop this by accident or drop your wrench, it doesn't slide all the way down and get stuck between the frame and the inner fender, and then you got yourself another problem. So, luckily the engine is removed, so I can get on the inside and do this. Otherwise, you got to bend down and get at it from here. Makes it a little bit more difficult, but it's definitely doable. Anyways, once you get it out, from the inside, you disconnect 3 cables. 1, 2, 3, 1 electrical connection, and then a small heat exchanger that goes on the bottom there. Once you're done, you literally pull it out. Now I took a hammer and I tapped on these ends until it pushed it in enough that I can actually grab it and pull it out, and then it comes out. You don't have to remove the dash, you got to remove the glove box. All right, we've cleaned off our heater box by wire brushing it and hitting it with satin black paint. We also scraped off the old foam gaskets and the foam gaskets that were on this door here and been replaced so that they're now new. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to put the heater core in. Now, we got this nice heater seal kit from Ames Performance. And it comes with a lot more gaskets than what you need. If you're really crazy, you can take apart this back section here, drill out the spot welds, open it up, and there's another door in there, a smaller one, that takes this smaller foam gasket. But we're going to skip that. The rest of these gaskets, this is the one for the outer perimeter of this heater box that we're going to put on next. And then the other ones are for actually doing the blower motor, which takes 2 more gaskets. So anyways, as of this present time, we're not replacing the blower motor because that definitely removes, you need to remove the fender for that. Once you've got the new gasket in place, you now place the new heater core. And the one we bought from Ames Performance is an exact duplicate of the one that was in there. So you place this end in first and set that one in there and make sure it's centered on the gasket. And right there, perfect. The next thing that has to happen is you have to put the bracket back in here. Now this held it in place. We're going to put this in here and we're going to take a hammer. We're just going to tap it down until the holes line up right there. So we'll use this and a screwdriver and we'll tap it down. All right, once we've got this bracket in place, we don't bolt it in yet in case we still have to shift it. We're going to put this clamp on here and the little feet touch the heater core. And now we press this back into place. And most likely you'll have to use a hammer to tap and persuade it to drop down, which is exactly what I'm going to do. And voila, it snaps right in place. Then we are now going to bolt into place this other bracket, 5/16 deep socket, and just screw it into place. Okay, we're all set. Okay, we put the new heater core in. Now we got to put the heater box under the dash, and these two nipples have to stick out. And as you can see, I put duct tape on them as a to feed these through the hole, because it's going to be difficult because the bottom one is bent at an angle. So it's not going to exactly stick through the hole. We're going to have to try to finagle this through hole first and this one second. So now we're going to go ahead and try that. So we got it in afterwards. Pulling it through with the duct tape on the end of the nipples worked really good. It allowed us to feed them through and pull them. And then one at a time, starting with these two, we got the heater box pulled through those holes. Then the next two, and the third one fell in by its place once the other two were lined up correctly. Then we put the wire nuts on them, the J-clips, and then we're done. Now we got to go inside the car and hook up the cables to the heater box that operate the vents. And that's the last thing to do.